Hi and welcome. So this is just a bit of an update after the third round of IVF for those of you who are following this journey alongside me. Now, some of you have obviously gone through the egg collection and then would have had that transferred, and then I did a meditation most recently for the 2-week wait. Now, for me personally, this is not the route that we've gone down this time, just because we needed to get ours PGTA tested. So we had 5 eggs in the end. 3 of them were mature, 1 fertilised normally and 1 abnormally. Now both of those made it to blastocyst, which is great. They always give the codes known as 5AB and 5BB, which is really, really great. So we've just had them sent off for testing. Now overall, as it's probably with most of us, it's not as many as we had hoped for, but then we are just in the midst of me waiting for my bleed now so that we can get started with the next round. So that will mean for this next month, I start to go on tablets kind of the middle of the month, and then on my next bleed, that's when the injections will start. So it's kind of a slight month gap in between the 2 sets of injections and like egg collections to let the ovaries kind of die down, because I'm sure they're kind of covered in cysts and things right now. So just let everything calm down. And if any of you are also in this position, it's just this kind of massive hormonal crash right now. Headaches, I'm constantly hot. It's hot weather anyway for me right now at this point in the year. And I know, coming from the last 2 cycles I've done previously as well, it takes a long time for us to feel back to our normal self. I remember in February it took me probably about 2 months to feel like I was in my own energy properly again. Now, I don't have that luxury, because by the time I maybe start feeling that way, we're going into another one. But what I do know that I can do, and which I do have done for many years now, is flowing with my cycle to just make sure that my energy is reflective of where I am in my cycle. So at this point, coming into, I'm not in a 2-week wait, I'm in my luteal phase, waiting for my bleed. So I will be doing practices that are much slower, re-energizing the body. Especially as the bleed comes, that week's going to be all about rest and rejuvenation, a lot of restorative yoga, just simple breaths, and nothing that takes too much of my energy when all of that is happening. And then as we move into kind of day 6, 7 of my cycle next month, start going into that ovulation phase again. So that's where I start kind of introducing a little bit more flow, getting a bit more active. And then of the week of ovulation is where, we start doing a bit more vinyasa, strength training, things like that, just things that really kind of fire us up. And then we head back down towards autumn, which is more yin, and then back to the bleed, which is a bit more restorative. So this is the way that I always work with my cycle with any movement I'm doing. I have a nice balance between several different types of yoga that I teach, other ones that I don't teach that are in my own practice, and then strength training as well. So what a really nice way, I think, of thinking about this is when we are in our bleed, calling that winter, it's this time of darkness. It sounds dramatic, doesn't it? It's time of darkness, it's time of rest, it's time to be cozy, it's a time to just try and do nothing, just let it all be, right? And then we've got spring, this kind of awakening of the seed, of the greenery, of life coming back again. Summer is the bloom, you feel amazing. Your skin's feeling good, your hair's feeling good, everything is good. You are just able to give all your energy out, okay? And then we head into autumn, where we start releasing and letting go, and then back into winter. So it's a really nice way to move with your cycle through your movement practice, and that's what I'll be sharing from now on, because I'm not directly in the 2-week wait, But this is quite similar, so we should be doing the similar type of things as we would in our luteal phase anyway when we're in a 2-week wait. Nothing too strenuous. Again, you're not doing all those really active practices, you're slowing down. So from now on, this is where I'm going to be sharing from every couple of days, just with various practices, going through those different phases of the cycle as I realign with my cycle before going into the 4th round of IVF. And then we'll see what happens when we get there. I really hope that some of you finding this really useful, maybe a little bit different yoga practice than you've done previously. It's a lot slower, obviously, and that's kind of a place where I teach from mainly, more of a feminine, slower yin practice than the yang. But there will be some of those fiery things that come on when I come into that ovulation point next month as well, if that's kind of something that you crave for as well. You'll be able to find it then. So it's an absolute pleasure and it's an honour to have you here. And wherever you are in your IVF journey right now, just remembering that you are not alone. I've found that so many people have contacted me during this, and it's, you know, as soon as we reach out, as soon as we start talking about it, as soon as we start expressing more, I think more and more women will be opening up, because it just seems like, you know, this is the kind of, not new way, but more and more people are getting to this point where either we've got older or, you know, life in general is a little bit unhealthier in many different ways, that people are starting to struggle to conceive. So I just think it's really important for us to talk about it. It's really important for us to educate friends and family who've just maybe never even considered any of this, which is obviously going to happen because we all get those really thoughtless comments from many people, I know. But the more we educate and the more we share our experience, I think we can do a lot of change and good in the world. So speak to people. Reach out to me if you want to. Please message me. My email's on there, my Instagram's on there. Please message me if you want to. I'm always happy to chat and share experiences if you need to. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you are finding all of this really useful. And again, it's just such a pleasure to be able to share it with you. Sat Nam.